Yes, people, welcome to Never a Foul. This is your boring Thursday show, as Thursdays are typically that annoying day because it's not exactly Friday, and there's no football. It's not exactly Champions League day, is it? It's more Bronze's day. By the way, someone got
so cheeky.
Someone's got some sort of Let me double check that. I can hear something in the background real quick. Nope. It's Rory. So I can hear like a little. Can anyone hear that little like thing in the background? Something like that. I don't know.
Let me. I'll try and do something.
Yeah. But we're going to be talking about. Well, we're going to be doing the updates for you in terms of injuries, pretty much team by team, and we'll just feed you off a little bit about that. A lot about Arsenal surrounding Saka and Trossard, even Saliba, even Jesus apparently not being able to be 100% match sharp in terms of playing out 90 minutes, just to debunk that a little bit and obviously give you a proper update from what we've read. Chelsea as well, there's a lot of names that came up yesterday and there's some new names today. Some that, again, 50-50, 25%. Tottenham as well, as Sean is here. Big up Sean. He's going to be giving you his intake of Spurs and the current situation there. Because it's just, and crazy enough, you know, Robertson's out as well, 10 weeks. Roms can debunk that. We spoke about that yesterday. And obviously Man United and Amrabat, Casemiro, and I think it's just some updates there for people to know. No, this ain't a Rory debut. Rory's been on here for weeks now. So big up Rory, big up Roms, Sean. You know what? This is the first time you boys have, I think, on a panel together. So how you all been? And yeah, man, are you excited for Premier League?
Well, to be fair, Kaz, I'm sick and tired of yourself. I've just been spent a whole hour with you. I'm joking about it. No, just good that the Prem's back, man. That's the main thing. International break, it's one of the worst.
Yeah, 100%. I can't stand it.
This has felt like one of the longest, dullest international breaks as well, I swear.
Oh, well, I guarantee not for Sean, because this boy is the top of the Premier League at the moment, isn't it, Sean? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but why would that make the international break any more palpable? I want it.
Sitting, you know what it is? When you're sitting where I'm sitting right now, yeah, in terms of 10th, right? I think it's 10th. Right, for me, it's like, I just need it to I need to see something. I'm eager to see the next game and see what comes about, because I cannot be holding corn. I do not like it. And guess what? I hate this part. We're definitely beating Sheffield United. No, you boys are definitely, Sheffield United are washed. We're the only team capable of making that record, I think.
You know, I'm proud of you. You've come a long way, because 3-4 years.
Get out, man. I'm sick of this guy's shit. Swear, man, every fucking stream. Sick of this guy's crap. Honestly.
You didn't even give him a chance.
No,
don't do that. I'm saying the reason why I'm proud of Kaz, because he just said I'm sick and tired of, you're guaranteed to. Oh, we're gonna beat Sheffield. He was the guy he's speaking about 3-4 weeks ago. Kaz was the guy saying we're guaranteed to beat this team, but he's actually learning his team is actually not that good. So you just have to wait and see it.
You'll be fine against Sheffield United, though. Come on, if you're not,
yeah, they will. I think they will be as well. Genuinely.
Yeah.
No, but you know what it is? Like, before we dive into the whole Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, whatever, it's like I just can't put it past us anymore to concede the first goal. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't care if they got Chris Basham at the back and that. They gave Tottenham a great game at their stadium.
Could you just imagine a Cameron Archer opener and then Bramwell Lane just goes wild?
I don't know, man. Like, even if we beat them, well, Man United fans will get guessed. But I have
next, haven't you? After that, is that
yeah? I think do we have Newcastle in between? Or maybe have Newcastle after Man City in the cup. But it's not that I don't have confidence to go and beat them. It's just that I need confidence in performance of what I've seen so far, right? And
you know what the problem is, right?
Go on.
For teams that are like, I don't know, 6th to 15th, there's no ability anymore, because there's like 9-10 teams in the Premier League now that all have got realistic shouts of European football. Like there's never been a period, I think, where there's been like no easy games more than there is right now. Like West Ham used to have bankers, maybe now you don't because they're putting a good team together. Palace are putting a good team if they didn't have the injuries, and so there's no ability now to look at a real run and go like there's momentum building opportunities here. Whereas there is the other hand where you could look and see what Chelsea have got, which is like 7 or 8 games on the bounce that are really tough. But there's never going to be a period where you look at your fixture list and go, we got 6 or 7 games now where you should be able to win all of them, unless you're someone who's right at the very top of the table. I mean, and that happens to be us at the moment. But generally speaking, so, like a Manchester City or us. But I think it's difficult. It's more difficult than ever to put together or to look at a fixture list and see momentum building opportunities.
Yeah. I just
8 o'clock kickoff on a Saturday as well. That late Saturday night kickoff can throw up some.
This is what
throw up things.
I'm not. I swear, last time we played at 8 o'clock, it was against Burnley.
Yeah.
Away.
Yeah.
And that was the worst performance. You know what? Defensively controlled, but overall garbage. Like disgusting. Like
that's new scheduling for this year, isn't it? The consistent kind of 8 p.m. kickoffs on Saturday, because we've never had this. I
don't know what the 8 o'clock kickoffs is meant for exactly, but I think maybe it's to relax the Sunday a bit. Maybe
for teams in Europe.
It's to get another game that isn't a 3 p.m. kickoff in. So it's to get another. So where like maybe previously you had like two 2 o'clock kickoffs on a Sunday, and they could only televise one of them. By moving one of them to 8 o'clock on a Saturday night, now they can televise an extra game basically.
And have the 4:30 one after.
I saw something off topic a little bit. Is that the 3 p.m.s that someone's looking to scrap all the someone in America is looking to stream all the games or something like that for next season. I'm not too sure if anyone saw that as well.
Yeah, I think the Premier League said no though. I think it's been Amazon's like long-term plan for a long time has been to get the rights for every single game and stream them all. You know, when they get the Boxing Day or New Year's Day, and then they get like one of the bank holidays, and they show every game. Yeah, they want to do that, but they can't do it with the 3 p.m. blackout.
Oh, fair enough.
That might change though the next time the Premier League broadcasting deal gets negotiated in 25-26 season. They're thinking about breaking away and doing their own like sport flicks, like a Netflix for Premier League.
They should do. That's exactly how it should be, because who wants to pay how much for Sky? Who even pays for Sky now these days? Everyone's got flipping black box or Fire Stick.
Imagine you pay £10 a month and you get every single game, right? Just in the Premier League. There'd be 100 million subscribers around the world that would do that.
Well, goodbye Sky Sports, really.
Well, Sky would be finished if that happened, and so would BT or so would TNT.
Or imagine the Premier League like hosted it all, and you could either get like you could buy all of the games, or you could pay like a tenner a month just for every game of your team, and then your club gets a fiver of it, and the Premier League gets a fiver of it.
You'd 4x the amount of money. I think at the moment, I think the Premier League makes 9 billion a year or something like that out of. Or 9 billion over the 3-year period of their current contract from Sky and TNT. And if you were to do that over a 3-year period, where you were doing on the maths of £10 a month and 100 million subscribers, you would 4x the amount of money the Premier League would generate in revenues for the clubs from broadcasting.
So about to get richer then.
Rich get richer.
Rich get richer. Yeah, that's the way it should be, man. But yeah, man, guys, if you're in here, there's 330 of you in here. Make sure to smash the like button if you do enjoy the content, or if you're just a regular, never a foul. I'm pretty sure everyone that's in here right now is a subscriber. Every single subscriber that's got an account, anyways, that because you can't subscribe without one. You should, if you was to boost this quickly to 300 likes, I wouldn't even have to ask for the rest of the show. It would naturally do its own thing. But yeah, man. Also, Rory Talks Football, and also Sean's channel permanently in the channel, friends of the channel, rivals of the channel, however you may see it, it's going to be in there. So make sure you go and subscribe to Sean's got one of the best intros ever. So, and I'm talking about his own one. You know, the way you introduce yourself when you're on the camera and all that kind of stuff, Sean. That's how I actually found you. Do you remember? Do you remember that first message I wrote you on Instagram? It's because I found that intro of yours. I thought, yeah, this guy's lit. Like, he's actually all right. You don't see that one of them. You know, when it comes to Spurs content creators, right? They're always old. Yeah, typically. They're always an old person and they're bland. And it's annoying because I can't find anyone that I find that could fit within the group. And here comes Sean. It's like, oh, he's a bit different. And I don't mean blue bus different. I mean just different. So,
I don't know what to make of that. I'll take it as a compliment. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Oh, the blue bus. If you're from London, you know what the blue bus is.
I know what the blue bus is, mate. Yeah.
I can't help myself, man. Why are you laughing like that, Rob? Don't do that. Yeah, let's dive into the situation of Arsenal Football Club. There's been a lot surrounding Chelsea, and obviously now it's a lot to surround Arsenal and their fitness. Bukayo Saka, Trossard, potentially even Saliba. That's Twitter outrage. I think it's bollocks. Anyways, and there's obviously other injuries that are back into play, like Partey. What do you make of anything surrounding Saka anyways, Rory? Because is this a game that you definitely think you should be involved in, even if he is 75% fit, or just let the boy rest? Because you can show that you can win without him. So why can't you not do it again?
Yeah, it's one of them. I think he'll start. I think he'll be fit. It didn't seem like if he was in contention for Man City, then I think like basically another 2 weeks on top of that should be fine. There is an argument that the thing is I don't want to underestimate Chelsea. I think it'd be a mistake to underestimate Chelsea at the Bridge. Could you start him on the bench? Probably, and then bring him on if you really need him. But I expect him to start. Trossard, I don't think he'd start anyway. I think he might make the bench and be an unused sub probably if he is still carrying something. And then Saliba is fine. I'm pretty sure he's been carrying that toe injury for a few weeks, and I mean he pocketed Haaland with it.
Chronic toe injury to people that don't know that, which is actual pain. So yeah, on the painkillers. Do any of you, Sean or even Roms, do you think Saka should be starting against Chelsea, considering the two players that did come off the bench, right, was the ones that made the difference in the game, plus Partey in respect, but I'm talking about the forward line. You know, even Havertz, I know he's not been the greatest name in terms of lining up football this season, but in terms of just hold-up play against one of the best, including Ruben Diaz, and Raya when he's with his long kicking, which is one of his better attributes.
It's a hammy injury, right? It's a hamstring injury, isn't it?
For Saka is, yeah.
I don't know. With those ones, like I was saying it on an Arsenal channel a couple of weeks back. You never know. Like even with like scans, you can see like it's healed, but it might not have been. I remember Dejan Kulusevski, Decky for Tottenham last year. He pulled his hamstring, and then the scan showed he was absolutely fine. Got rushed back, and it went again. And then he was down for another 4 weeks, and then the scan showed he was fine, and he rushed back, and he went again. And it's one of those injuries that I just don't think you ever know whether it's fully fit. And now you can see the impact on Kulusevski. He was never the fastest player anyway, but he now never gets into whatever his top gear is. You know, he never gets into it because he doesn't trust it. So I just think with Saka, you got to like listen to the body more than just the medical team. He's got to know his own body maybe more than what the medical team can see from a scan, whether he thinks he can fully trust himself. And if he can't, then I don't know whether it's better to take one for the team.
Don't you think that's a slightly an issue? Because all of us, like, there's two ways you can go about it. The medical team can deem him fit, or Saka could be saying, I'm fit enough to play because he wants to play, and not actually trusting rest to be his best friend.
Yeah. Yeah, well, again, ambitious players can be their own worst enemy. I mean, I don't know, obviously, what Saka is like as a personality, whether or not he would override his own better judgment. But I'm just saying that I just know from experience with Tottenham that scans might tell you one thing, but it doesn't necessarily mean the other. You know?
Saka does have a history of playing through knocks. Like the fact that he strung 87 consecutive Premier League appearances together before that City game for a player like him is pretty mental. So he plays through those sort of knocks.
Now, mate. Yeah, one game will do you. Don't worry.
Yeah,
but the last couple of weeks during the international break, Saka's been training.
So we don't know.
We don't know that, but all we know from reports is that he reported into the England camp and they assessed him there, and they said through further scannings and all that kind of stuff, they're going to give him back to Arsenal. Well, not give him back like that, but like they're going to send him back to Arsenal and they can assess him and they allow them to have their own judgment of him. So I'm going to guess he's probably done some form of fitness, because if he didn't, I think it'd been given the way Twitter is and all the leaks and everything, I'm pretty sure that would have been something of now, right?
Yeah,
have training pictures been released, Rory, or anything?
No, not yet. I don't think.
Friday, you typically get the Arsenal ones.
Yeah.
Whether they're lying or not, we don't know.
That's the thing. Arteta's constantly like just lying, basically.
He's on
So
top of
we
it.
never really know.
That's the way you got to pick that up, though. You
I
got
love
to on that part. Every manager should be like that.
I love it. But I mean, the only thing we've got to go on really is when Saka went off against Lens, and it was one of them where like it wasn't like he pulled up with a hammy injury. It was like he sat down at one point because he felt like he had tweaked it and walked off. So I don't think it was ever a serious one. It's been like 2.5 weeks since he did it. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he should start. I'll give some good reasons. I reckon. One, because I mentioned the game change. Martinelli's there, and I know they don't play in the same position. And I think in terms of their most fit left winger, anyways, it's going to be Martinelli that's going to make a better difference than anybody else. Hence, Reece Nelson, etc., etc. I think maybe trust. I think one way, shape, or form. I think Arteta is definitely going to try to shoehorn Havertz, and I think when you want a player that wants to prove a point against another club, their former club, I think it's always good. Right, and his reception will be awful from the Chelsea fans. Don't get me wrong, but
You reckon?
Yeah, 100%, mate. You're going from Chelsea to Arsenal. Come on, make it make sense. Let's clap him. They should maybe clap because they won in the Champions League, but that's not how football runs.
Unless you're landing the minerals, let's have it right. Unless you're landing the minerals.
I think in my head, I think Jesus off the right, especially after his comments. We spoke about it last week with Rory and yourself, Roms, and who I don't know if someone else was here. About he's happy to play wherever. Right now, I'm seeing Jesus at right hand side who's looking very, unpredictable and very good, right? And I think where does the balance come in? And I think maybe Kai Havertz it's worth testing up front for the meantime, because since Chelsea are such this crap team that Arsenal are going to whoop, right? What difference is it going to make since you got better players all around the gaff? So where I look at it, maybe use Havertz as a target man, as the balance front three, and then maybe have Saka on the bench. That's just my way of thinking for Arsenal going forward, because I just don't think, even like Reece James, which we're going to touch on, right? I don't think he should be starting, but maybe on the bench he might be all right. Trossard's not fit on the bench, so what other options do we actually have in mind for Arsenal's front three?
I think if Saka doesn't play, it's Jesus off the right and Havertz through the middle. I think that's
so
like.
Is that Nketiah? Does Nketiah then deserve to be dropped?
In my opinion, yeah. I think we're at the point where Nketiah shouldn't be. Nketiah only starts, in my opinion, if Jesus is injured, which he's not at the moment. So.
You know what? I was going to ask Sean this then. What do you make of Arsenal and Havertz and whatnot this season? And what do you think this is the best Arsenal that we actually seen so far? Because in my opinion, Sean, right, even against you boys, they weren't. I don't want to discredit you as well, because I thought Tottenham played very well, but you can see that you was in good gear. But you can kind of see that Arsenal could probably maybe take it up a notch or two.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I've been like, it's a painful thing to admit, but I don't think Arsenal are looking as good, anywhere near as good as they were last season with the fluency on the pitch. But yet they find themselves sat second in the table, somewhat joint first, if you want to be pedantic. But I don't really feel like they've got into their full gear yet. So, and I know that I keep hearing that the kind of the key foremen up the top haven't actually played together yet this season. So, look, obviously better things can probably come for Arsenal. And if you've had your injury, if this is your injury period, because every team goes through a little period in their season when they have, a few additional knocks at the same time. If that's coming to an end, then yeah, it's pretty scary for everybody else to see what Arsenal can do. But at the same time, just because you haven't hit your top form yet doesn't mean that you necessarily will. And I do think that Arsenal of this season are nowhere near as impressive as they were last season. So yeah,
I think it's mental, Roms, that. Yeah, I agree on that part. Yeah, like 100%. Roms, don't you think it's kind of mad that this season, we've only seen 20 minutes of Rice, Ødegaard, and Partey, which is looking like the potential main three for Saturday, and we haven't even seen Saka, Martinelli, Jesus feature once, and we could potentially see that against Chelsea. It could get bad.
It could, but. See, I was under the impression that Saka had trained, but going off what Rory's saying, and we're unsure if he has. I was saying if Saka's trained the past 2 weeks during the international break, I would have started him, because I think when me and Rory spoke about the City and Arsenal game, previewing that game, I said maybe Saka shouldn't start because he had came off. Was the Lons game just before the City game? It was.
Yeah, the midweek
yeah,
before
it was,
it.
Yeah. So he kicked. So I was saying short term pain for long term gain, right? But if he hasn't trained during this international, we'll find out tomorrow. If he hasn't, then I don't think they should start him because I know for Arsenal fans it's very exciting. Like you said, that strongest midfield three and that six as a collective, correct me if I'm wrong, Rory, have not started. So as Arsenal fans, there's something to look forward to. But if you throw a Saka into it and then he gets injured, the injury gets even more severe, it's pointless for me. And you saw they showcased against City when Saka didn't start. That front three is still strong enough. I mean, if you can put in that performance against the City, no disrespect to Chelsea because they have been the third best defensive team after City and Arsenal, from what I remember. But they're not City. They are not Manchester City. So they can still put up a performance. And Roy would know this. Arsenal tend to play slightly better away from home than home. I don't think you've conceded away from home this season, albeit you've only played, I think, 2 or 3 games, but it's still quite impressive. So I don't think Saka, if he's not trained, don't start him. If he's trained, I can see cases for both. But that front six is something to look forward to from an Arsenal fans' point of view, man.
I'm actually more excited to see the midfield battle personally between Chelsea. I'm going to dive into that later because I just want to talk about the injuries first, including even your own and Tottenham, before we get into like key moments of what it might be between the game. I want to dive more into that personally for Never a Foul tomorrow. But even if you're going to switch it over to Chelsea, they've got a lot. There's a big injury boost for them. Players that might be available or not available is, again, I think we're not going to find out much until technically tomorrow. So we're only going to tell you what our opinions are and what's been said, right? The Sassy, they're saying that he might be on the bench, but not in contention to start. And I think after that Burnley game, I think Levi Colwill and Thiago Silva just makes total sense anyways. Chukwuemeka's he will be on the bench. He might feature. That's a big boost in terms of options off the bench, right? Cole Palmer, they had knocks and bruises. He's totally fine from what I've seen. If we're going to keep moving along the lines between the bait ones, etc., it's the main one and the main talking point of it all is the one and only Reece James. Now, Rory made a statement earlier on Twitter because Rory's he's goated when it comes to engagement. You said Reece James wouldn't even make a difference for this game, and I saw your point, and I'm going to be really honest. I have to agree.
Good.
Sorry, Chelsea fan. But he will let them know what you said, and then we'll respond to it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way I worded it was that Chelsea fans are getting excited as if he's a game changer. What I meant is result changer more than game changer, right? Obviously, it does make a difference to the game. It changes the game, but I don't think it changes the result. I don't think whether Reece James plays or Reece James doesn't play, I don't think that is going to be the thing that decides whether Arsenal win or not. And look, coming back in, off an injury, another injury against Martinelli when he's had muscle injuries, is he going to trust himself to go at full pace, which he's going to have to against Martinelli? In a way, I'd almost rather he actually starts. I actually think Arsenal have potentially a better chance of winning if Reece James starts. So, yeah, that was what I meant.
Do any of you even think he's going to he is actually a difference maker? Because if you're going to go off what we've known and seen and know of Reece James, he's amazing. He's amazing, but
compared to who though? Who's the other option? Is it Cucurella?
No,
Did
Gusto.
he play right back last time out?
So it was
Cucurella.
It was Cucurella, but Gusto had a red card. Gusto has actually been one of their better defenders this year, in my opinion.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Does Reece James really make a difference in terms of, even if he is fit enough, like he's deemed to play, he could be on the bench or you can start. Would you play him?
Yeah, versus Cucurella, yeah, 100%. I like Gusto, but I think that I take the point that Roy's making 100%, and I understand why he would want to play against a 50, like an unfit, not match fit version of Reece James. But I personally think that there's levels of the player, and if the guy is fit, if the guy has trained enough and is fit enough to participate, then versus the other options, you go with Reece James if it was me.
Flipping no, man. I don't like it. We spoke bare on it, Roms, as well, man. Like the whole Gusto Reece James situation. We said it yesterday. We thought we had another injury claims. Obviously, just taking the leaf out Arteta's book, lies. He's actually been trained and he's there. But I just think, like, if he gets injured again, I said it yesterday, I'm going to say it again. If he even gets injured again, uncomfortable conversations, isn't it?
Uncomfortable conversations that we spoke about yesterday. He will then go in, for me, you don't want him to end up in that pool of players like your Wilshires, your Diabys, your Ledley Kings, where the talent is undeniable. But when you come back, you just know next 2-3 games the injuries are inevitable, and it's sad because even speaking objectively, forget that tribalism, put tribalism aside. You want to see the best players play week in, week out, and Chelsea need to manage this one very carefully because he is your best player and they've made him captain. You actually made me think, Has, because I was saying, look, if these injuries carry on, if they're persistent, you might have to have a conversation about selling him. It's uncomfortable, but then you remind me of something, Kaz. They've made him captain recently. He's come from the academy. He is now Mr. Chelsea. Realistically, they're not going to sell him, but it's a tricky one with him. It's honestly a tricky one with me personally. I don't start him against Arsenal. If I was Chelsea, I'll throw in Gusto again. Like me and you were in agreement earlier, Kaz. I think he's a better 1v1 defender than Reece James. Obviously, going forward, it's no argument. I think Reece James is.
He's our Martial. He's our Martial, and if it continues, he's going to break down just like Martial. And he's
your Martial. He's our Thiago. You could even say he's your Varane. Just any player that constantly gets.
Yeah, it's a shame, man, because he's got all the talent in the world, and you can definitely see that he's top heavy. But that's how he's naturally built. Like you can't help but how you're naturally built. But
you know what's crazy, Cass, yeah? His loan spell at Wigan, and you speak to some Championship fans in that Wigan fans, or even we were with Lee yesterday.
I swear, in one season, his most fit season was back when he was at Wigan.
Exactly. That we spoke to Joe yesterday. Big up Joe, the Leeds fans. That when he played us a couple of years ago in the Championship, he was class. He bossed the whole game. But it's funny how that season, I think that's been his only injury-free season, like completely injury-free season in his career, and then he's just been unfortunate with injuries. But I said to you earlier, Kad, I think Arsenal do dominate this game, so maybe Reece James starting, because Chelsea will get success on the transition, in my opinion. If they're to get any, it would be on the transition. He's there. Let's be honest. He's their biggest creator. If he's fit and firing, he is Chelsea. Maybe not biggest creator, but he creates he creates the biggest chances. So, you know what? Like I was saying to you earlier, Kat, they've got a good headache there. Because I think if either or of them start, Chelsea fans won't really be turning their nose at any of them. So they've got a good selection headache there.
Yeah, 100%. Guys, there's 500 of you in here. Please, if you haven't done so, just double check for us. Smash the like button and give these boys a check out in the description below. If you exit your live chat, I'm going to show you right now because I know some of you actually don't know. Which is funny enough. Did you know that, Sean? Some people actually don't even know what the like button actually is.
What was the question?
No. Some people don't know what the.
Oh yeah, you got to drum the thumb. Just drum it.
You got to drum the thumb. We used to have that on the soundboard. But look, guys, it's as simple as this. This is you lot talking, right? This is you lot talking. All you got to do is exit, and don't do that. All you got to do is like the button. I haven't even liked my video. Look, I've just liked my video. Boom. That's all you got to do.
Shameless self-likage. You can't like your own video, mate. That's shameless.
Mate, you gotta do it, man. Gotta do it. I'm gonna go through these before we move on, because I don't even want to talk and dwell on negative parts of the game in terms of injuries and Reece James, because I think it's an upward spell for Chelsea currently. But this is the list of his injuries since the start of his career in professional game, which is 1920. 2 ankle injuries, a bruise, a knock, then 2021, which is, I think you alluded to, is one of his better seasons, injury-free, even though he was out for about 9 games. Ankle injury, hamstring injury. Next season, hamstring injury, fitness issues, muscle injury, hamstring injury. Last season, 2 knee injuries, another hamstring injury, which is not a thing. 5 problems, and also another hamstring injury. And guess what? This season, hamstring injury.
He's cooked. If it's that one, I didn't realize there were so many hammies in there. Like,
Sean, have you noticed the pattern? Like you were saying about I always get a tongue twisted. Let's just call him Dexy. Decky. Have you even when you were speaking about Decky, the hamstring injuries were persistent. This is an occurring injury for any footballer. Once you do your hamstring once, you're very cautious. You don't want to break into strap. You know, big up Muntz, but Muntz has done his hamstring many times, and he's even said when he plays football, he doesn't like to go in his full stride because it is a reoccurring injury. For me, it's after probably an ACL, it's probably one of the worst injuries to get.
It ruined Michael Owen's. Like, those of the old enough remember Michael Owen at his peak. Like, he was about 19, 20 years old when he got his first hammy, and it was never the same. He would always go down with periods, and It's one of those injuries because you're going to stretch when you go into full gear, full pace, you're stretching your legs, and that's a shame. I didn't realize he's got 7 or 8 different reoccurrences of that. I don't think he'll ever be.
What do you mean, Derek? Look, we're talking about Chelsea. I don't exactly need a Chelsea fan to talk on Chelsea, right? There's not enough of you content creators that I like, anyways. Don has got a full-time job. He's barely can go on into the middle of a show, right? Abs he's in uni, right? Who else is there that I can think of? Lewis, he came on yesterday. Why am I going to bring him on just again? Who else there? Matisse does his own thing. He's in his own lane at the moment. There's all the rest of them. Who else is there? Oh, wait. There's loads of them. There might be loads of them, but guess what? Loads of them that I don't rate. So it's as simple as that. I'm not going to give you lot crap. But I am working on scouting more Chelsea talent to suit panels. So don't worry about that. Stop moaning. You always moan. But no, it's all love, Derek, anyways. Especially Arsenal fans always moan, you don't get good representation on this channel. We get about 9 per week. Different moaners. But yeah, no. So Derek's saying to mention how great Reece James is every time he comes back from injury. That's amazing. So is Thiago. Thiago comes back. He drops an 8 out of 10 as soon as he plays, and then what? He's back in the hospital. That's the reality.
The question you guys are asking about the uncomfortable conversation about where if he breaks down again, do you have to sell him? Which club wants to buy a player for top value for a player that has got that long of a string of injuries and that long of a string of significant injuries to the same part of your body? Like, I don't know what Reece James is worth if you're only ever going to get 30% of the games out of him. Does that rip his value down by 60%? I don't know. But
again, another conversation with if it did come down to that. But yeah, moving off of the injury part, we tried to update you as much as possible. More injuries before we dive into the Robertson thing a little bit, and then back into the Chelsea game and what key parts we may think since Rory's here and Sean. I don't care about Rams's opinion. But other than that, Tottenham also potentially have some potential injury. Son with that again, something similar, but I think he's got. Is it a hamstring? Was it his groin? Something.
It's his groin. Yeah, it's his groin.
He's got a potential groin injury. He's been.
Jurgen Klinsmann is shameless, mate. I don't know whether he gets the pressure from the South Korean sponsors. He's supposed to be one of our own, Jurgen Klinsmann. He rested him for the first irrelevant friendly against Vietnam, but played him in the second one. Bearing in mind that Sonny has come off in the 60th minute for the last 4 or 5 games for Tottenham. He's not finished a game. And every time he sits down when he first gets back to his seat on the subs bench, you can see him wincing in pain. And then against, I forget whoever Korea were playing, they were 5-0 up, and he's in absolute agony on the pitch. And again, it comes back to does the player look after himself? Does he do what's in his best interest? Does he have the determination to play? And at what point do you sit there and go, I love you, but in your mind, if you think a 60% version of you is better than the 100% version of the guy on the bench when it comes to your club's best interests, then you have to have those sorts of conversations, because there's no way he should have finished that game when he was in absolute agony after 60 minutes. And yeah, I don't know whether he's fully fit, but I think Rom, to your point earlier, I think he's one of those players that is going to say I'm fit, even if he's not. He played the entirety of last season, and at the end of the season, in June, he said, oh, by the way, I was playing with a hernia the whole season. So, he's someone you can't trust. If the medical team are saying, are you good? He's going to say yes, even if he's not, because he doesn't want to, come off the pitch. But, I'd rather have a 100% version of Richarlison. Would I? Richarlison? I'm about to say Richarlison. I'm not sure I would have 100%. I'd rather have 50% Sonny.
This is what I was going to say. It's fine margins, because it's not just that. Papa Sarr might be injured as well. He's been great for you this season. That box-to-box, the energy that you need. Potential, I don't think it's major concern. I ain't seen much else on that.
I hadn't even heard that one.
What's going on with Brian Hill? He's a player I rate highly. What is going on with Brian Hill? Is he injured?
He's been injured. He had surgery at the very start of the season, a week before the season started. He had surgery on... I'm not sure what part of his body it was, to be honest. I forget, but he's back to fully fit now. But I just think the guy. Look, I love the guy as well. I think whenever I see him play, I think he's a little kind of terrier running around doing the thing. I think he's really through the system. But I also think he's generally happier. I don't think he's learned English, and I think he's really happier when he's in Spain. But yeah, he might be someone that we can lean into.
Yeah,
Maybe.
it could be just a culture thing. There's some players that just come over and they just don't work out because they just don't like the lifestyle, right? But yeah, so you might have that. Brennan Johnson potentially might play, might not play. Another setback. Like if it, well, let's say Son is
He's got a hammy though, Kaz. He's another guy, right? He's got
hamstring injury.
One of the major reasons why you bought Brennan Johnson is apparently he's the second fastest player in the Premier League behind the Man City.
Doku?
No, the right back for Man City. Oh, my mind's gone blank. Carl Walker, sorry. Yeah, officially, Brennan Johnson has clocked the second fastest time in the Premier League behind him, but he's now got a hammy injury and he's coming back from a 4 weeks out. So I don't know now if half the value of Brennan Johnson is his pace. Is he really going to drop into final gear again? And if he does it snag again? And if so, have we spent 50 million quid on? And he's 21 years old, right? You don't want a player like that who's now going to have a forever hammy injury. Well, time will tell what will happen, but because not all hamstring injuries are the same. But yeah, another problem.
Yeah. More injuries as well for you, Roms. Flipping, probably the last thing you needed is someone like Robertson injured right now. Not saying he's a major piece of your defense. I think your defense has been coping well, but the way you've been playing, he plays as a left centre back these days. You know, that's 10 weeks, but lucky for you, you got a decent run of games, so you can probably come before maybe Man United game. Maybe.
I expect, we know football's not played on paper, but I actually expect 7 out of 7 in all competitions until we play City. I do believe we should be winning every game. If you look at the run of games we've had, we're going to dominate. We're going to dominate the ball in most of them games. Robbo is a blow because he is on a slow decline. I know you're smiling, Casca. I forgot to say something, but he is on a slow decline. However, I don't think it will be as detrimental to us as what some rivals may think. My option to come in for Robert is Kwanzaa. I want Kwanzaa to start because where we're going to dominate the ball and Trent naturally inverts, it's going to go into a back three anyway. Kwanzaa is naturally a centre back. So for me, I would start him, but he won't. We've offered Tsimikas a new deal. Klopp sees him as a long-term squad option. He will come in and start. And to be fair, from what I've seen in the international break for Greece, I know it's a different type of game and it's much slower. He put in 2 good performances for Greece. So, and I think from a pride point of view, he should relish this. It's like, go on now, prove yourself. You hardly play. You know your second choice. Now go and prove that. Make it difficult for Robbo to come back. And we all know once Robbo's back fit again, he's going to come straight into this team. But make it difficult. Give Klopp kind of a headache. Like, you know what? You've actually had a stellar 2-3 months. Make it hard for Robbo to come back in. But yeah, it is a blow, but it's not going to be that too much detrimental to us, to be fair. And I think we'll cope without him until the City game. You'll probably see our Achilles. And to be fair with Robbo as well, teams have been targeting us down his left side, and he's not had the best season, but then he's not had the worst. There's been games where he's looked very vulnerable, but then there's been a lot of fans are saying put Gomez left back because he started his Liverpool career. There's so much context with that. The objectives are different. He's strong on the right-hand side. I don't want to see him left back. And to be fair, Simi and Kwanzaa are our only options. But other than that, Gakpo's now training. I think he's training with the first team today. He won't be ready for Everton, but he should be ready next week for next week's fixtures. But yeah, it's a bit annoying. And Jota as well. I think Nunes has cramp. He'll probably be introduced the last 10-20 minutes of this game. But it's not Jota and Tsimikas. It's the same thing for both of them. Go and prove yourself now. You two are kind of now fringe players. You're kind of bench warmers, essentially, even though we do tend to rotate our front three. But you now have to go and prove yourself. And there's no better game to do it in a derby. Go and win the fans.
Well, is it much of a derby these days? I don't know. The game says if Arsenal get a clean sheet, there will be the first team in English football to get 4 consecutive away clean sheets in their first 4 away games. Boy, records pop up every day. We break ours. So what can I say? Solomon says RJ played 32 games this season after the first injury, then 24 games the season after, and he was unfortunate to get the same injury. It's not the same. All right, let's dive into that a little bit then, because I was well prepared for that one, Solomon. In 1920, he only played 2,500 minutes, considering he was quite young at that point and introduced into his career at Chelsea. Oh, that's very good minutes. The next season, he played 3,000 minutes. Credit, he did play a lot of games, so in that respect, he paid 3,000. Then after that, this is in a season, by the way. After that, he played 2,800 minutes. Not that bad, but not really that great. Probably his best season in output, because he only played 1,800 minutes in the Prem. The following season, which was last season, he played 1,900 minutes again. Not that great considering how many games there are in one season, and he was also in Champions League. This season only played 76 minutes. For someone that is 23 going on 24, that is not a lot of minutes. Just to point out, but yeah, he was injury free at one point, but things change in careers. So yeah, your point was very valid. But diving back into the game, Sean, or even Rory, where do you think the game is going to be won? Because I can't see this being everyone expects Arsenal to dominate this game and batter them. And I've seen it all. So we can't deny that, right? I just think it's going to be a cagey affair. In total honesty, I can't, for some reason, I can't write Chelsea off in even getting a 1-1 draw, but I can't write off Arsenal not destroying them at the same time. I can't make my mind up.
Yeah, I mean, you've got 2 of the 3 best defences so far this season in terms of goals conceded. I think Chelsea, they're not going to go for it, I don't think. I think they'll sit back and try and do us on the counter. So I think you're probably right. I do think it'll be quite a cagey affair. And I think it's one of those games that I can see it ending up being one in it with a couple of moments of brilliance, whether it's for us or for them. I think it's one of those games. I can't see us I'd love to say we will, but I can't see us winning 3 or 4-0 with the way I think that they'll play.
Oh, do you agree with that, Sean? 3 or 4-0?
I do think Arsenal will come out on top. I just think it's probably the worst game because Chelsea are starting to turn the corner. They're starting to get some form and momentum, but I just think that it's probably the worst game you could want to play right now. Would be Arsenal at home. Arsenal generally. I think if they're starting to get their full team back, then yeah, it would just derail Chelsea, and Chelsea have got an eye on the next 6 fixtures to come. So I personally
is that Stamford Bridge, by the way?
No, I know, yeah. Sorry, what did I say? Did I say Arsenal at home? Sorry, I mean Arsenal. Yeah. Arsenal away. It would be Arsenal. Chelsea playing Arsenal at home. Yeah. So I just think Arsenal got too much. I think that you have to take a little bit of pay attention to the fact that Arsenal, to those stats about not conceding a goal away from home, they seem to be playing better football away from home. I think that there'll be 3-1. I don't think it'll be 4-0 or whatever, but I think it will be 3-1. I think it'll be a tight opening half, and then eventually, Arsenal will pull away and will come away.
There's no one think that Chelsea has any sort of chance here. Not one person. Not even you, Roms. How can Chelsea win this?
They could nick a draw, but I can see Arsenal. I don't think it'll be 3 or 4-0. I think Arsenal win this goal by what goal? Arsenal win this game by a goal margin. I think it'll be a 1-0 or a 2-1. But I feel like people need to start respecting Chelsea a bit more. I know Arsenal are very good. We know one of the best teams in the league, but I think Chelsea are kind of going under the radar. Yes, their position reflects where they are, but they've actually been more defensively solid than people think. Their problem literally has been hitting the back of the net, which I don't think they'll do enough again on Saturday, which results in Arsenal winning. But I can't see Arsenal putting more than 2 goals past them. They're capable of doing it, but I just don't think they will. They win the game, but I think it will be a low scoring. I think 2-1 will deem as low scoring. It'll be a 2-1 win for Arsenal. That's my prediction.
The way I look at it for Chelsea, the only way they're going to win this game is it's not through the middle, it's through the flanks. I think they've got good matchups. I think Zinchenko versus Cole Palmer is a good matchup for Chelsea, and also Sterling, who's a bit more low gravity, centre gravity type player against Ben White, which is pretty much his kryptonite in some way, shape, or form. It's got to be also their good matchup. But it comes down to the clinical edge. I can't put it past Chelsea that they won't do something, only because it's Arsenal versus Chelsea. But in respect, Arsenal, even when they didn't have this glamorous team, were still doing bits at the bridge. So again, it's just such a hard one to call for me. I'm just trying to think of different parts, but I just think, see that midfield of Arsenal's, that might be just too much. It might be too much.
I think one thing with the current Chelsea team is that a lot of the games that they've actually struggled more in this season have been when they're at home. I think when they've gone away to games that they'd kind of expect to win, there's not really much pressure on them. But when they're at home, there's that massive amount of pressure. And I think with such a young squad, this will be the most high pressure game they've probably had this season at the bridge against Arsenal. And they could crumble again. Like I said, I think it'll only be probably 1-0, 2-0. But We'll see.
You know, Sean, you know Pochettino more than anyone, obviously, because he was in your side, and you obviously alluded that his first season you got to give Pochettino time to work his thing. If we're going based off what he's done in previous, like let's say in hindsight he gets bad. Let's say Chelsea get bad. Does that kind of show Poch like to the fans? Like, does that kind of just show his arse a little bit, thinking I don't know if he's going to be the right guy? Kind of say, or do you think this game's just one of them things where you just wash it off? It doesn't matter what the result is. Because I'm thinking, if I'm a Chelsea fan, I'm thinking if you get battered by Arsenal, then you're going to be asking more questions that he probably doesn't need. Or do you reckon he's got to buy maybe?
I think the Fulham game bought him a lot more time. West London derby, Fulham didn't turn up for it, and Chelsea ended up kind of walking away comfortably. And it's like a little bit of bragging rights because they struggled last year with bigger manager names, or not necessarily bigger manager names, but more kind of with managers that had more points in the bag, I guess, for Chelsea fans, and they struggled against Fulham last year. So I think the Fulham game came at the right time. Fulham didn't turn up. Then they backed it up with the Burnley win. So I feel like when you look at that kind of, if that hadn't worked out, if they'd lost against Fulham, if something had gone wrong against Burnley, then you look at the 7-8 games that are coming up, and you go, wow, there's not that many easy points going to be found there. I'm not sure what comes first. The Chelsea fans throw their toys out of the pram about him, or the manager wants a reset. And if the manager the owner rather, if the owner wants to kind of go, this isn't working, and I've pumped so much money in, and we need that Champions League football and all that kind of impatience mentality, I'm not sure which one comes first. But I don't know. Pochettino for me took his time with Tottenham, but there was less pressure on Tottenham at the time. We were on, we were coming out of a period that wasn't particularly impressive, and our expectations were low. Chelsea's expectations, the fans' expectations are about immediacy. The owner's expectations are about trying to claw back some of that money at some point for sure, because, he's put a lot of money in and he needs to find a way to get the revenues back, and it's not coming from anywhere else other than the campaign prize money. So, they're not doing anything with the stadium or they haven't got that kind of diversified revenue stream. So to me, I feel like the Fulham game probably bought him more time. And as far as the Arsenal game goes, I don't know, man. It depends. If Arsenal do get turned over, who's the next game for Chelsea after that?
All right, let me go through their list quick. They have got this is where their run starts coming in. They got Arsenal, Brentford, which is also at the bridge. Then they got forget the EFL Cup. They got Tottenham, you boys, Man City, Newcastle, Brighton, Man United, Everton, and Sheffield.
Yeah, if they get turned over against Arsenal in a big way, then I think the noise will be back, because I think it's gone a little bit quiet after the last two results, as I said. And then I think if they need to beat Brentford, they should be able to beat Brentford, another West London team. And then Tottenham, if Tottenham do well against them, then I think that the Chelsea fans will start to their impatience will be palpable. To be honest,
I think they need to get there. I think they need to get there. I think this Arsenal games that means a lot more to Chelsea than it means to Arsenal, in my opinion, Roms, man. Because honestly, even you said talking about respect on Chelsea. Look, they got this run coming up, right? And we've all written them off early before, and then maybe a couple minds have changed potentially through a few of these results. They need to earn their respect back. If they can't, Tottenham have earned respect through Ange, and obviously without Harry Kane. That was the big question. Are they going to do it without Harry Kane? Now, you got a manager comes in with, you could say, maybe a weaker but more balanced squad. He's made the best out of the team with a couple of additions, and now Ange got 2 Manager of the Month awards. James Maddison, They got respect. I'm not being funny, but we're talking about proper 12th here or taking a mick out of Chelsea. If they don't put in a performance, they're not earning respect anytime soon, and that means smaller sides are not going to respect them. I feel like when a side, parks the bus against you, it's because they respect enough to know that your attack is going to do something.
But that's the thing. I feel you can lose, but it's how you lose. I feel like Chelsea are going to lose in a good manner. I feel like Arsenal are going to find it tough, but due to their quality, and they're going to have too much quality in abundance, Arsenal will come away from this game victorious. Like I said, I predict it will be 2-1, but I think we're all going to leave this game. Even I think some Arsenal fans thinking, you know what, we beat them, but they made it tough for us. That it wasn't an easy win. We didn't blow them out of the water. So I do feel Chelsea will earn respect within this defeat, and I think they'll go on to beat Brent. Because you know me, because I made a bold prediction a couple of days ago that I think Chelsea pick up more wins in this run than people actually think. I could be wrong. It's just what I believe. I think they'll surprise people in this run, but I think they lose respectably against Arsenal. But you're right. If sorry to cut you, Roy, if they do lose 3-4-0, then I could be wrong because that confidence can get low again, morale could drop, and then you're right. But I can't see them getting a spat 3-4-0. And this is why it's going to be interesting because some people think they will, some people think they won't. I can't wait for that fixture.
If yes, sorry to cut you off, mate. I didn't mean to. If Chelsea are on the end of a big defeat, and something happens between either the Brentford game or the Tottenham game, and knowing what's coming, in your guys' minds, I want to ask you guys a question. Like, do you think that Todd Boehly might pull the plug on the project and start again? And if so, is that the wise thing to do in that scenario, or a stupid thing to do?
Oh,
I don't know if he can.
Sack him.
Like,
No.
No. We got to treat Chelsea like they're a big club because they are. If it's my club and we're in that situation, I know Todd B, you a lot of point of things. Why did you get him in the first place? In theory, it worked, but you abandoned your principles in the first place through summer, right, or pre-season, and tried to play a different way. So, and why put in Chilwell left wing? Why put in Cole left back? Just because one injury and Nkunku, and all of a sudden the Chelsea lineup that they want, they're getting now, and all of a sudden results are coming. And let's say it doesn't happen now, and especially with injuries coming back. I'm sorry, any other club are getting sacked. So why not Chelsea? Chelsea are a big club, and they're most notorious for it.
Because it resets the project once again to grab
Exactly. A new manager.
I feel bro, once you've lost the dressing room, no matter how good of a tactician you are in that, it's gone, mate. You can bounce back with something else. And maybe it might be another learning curve for Todd B. I know it sounds harsh.
I understand where you're coming from. I honestly do. But like Sean said, then the project resets again. New manager comes in. You know what? I need 200 million now to spend. I want to bring in bad players.
This is where it comes down to recruitment process. Who is a manager that can do with this squad? Because they're going to go spend in January anyways to get what other little pieces. You got to look at a manager that can come in and say, I can get the best out of this current team, this squad. I think there's enough there. Right, and I'm pretty sure there's enough that would say I can do this. Maybe Hansi Flick, maybe whoever. Name names.
You need a massive name manager that's going to command the respect of the dressing room. Right?
I think so.
Antonio Conte?
No.
The issue I think in terms of bringing in another manager, I think the issue that they've got is that, like any of the proper big name managers, a lot of them don't actually have that much experience of coming into a club that's got as many young, raw 100%. Players as Chelsea do and having to build them into winners. And I don't think if you do just bring in like a hardened big name winner, I don't know if they'd actually do that well. So then if you don't do that, then you're going to the likes of like a De Zerbi or something, or then you're back to like Graham Potter vibes and restarting the whole process again. I don't even know if they can afford it. If they pay off Pochettino, which they'd have to do, it's a mess. If they don't figure things out in this rough period, it's a massive mess.
Maybe you don't sack him regardless, then Rory, right? Like you let him.
Yeah, I don't think you can.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I let
I'm sorry, I've seen it. I've seen other clubs do it. I've seen Real Madrid do it. I've seen loads of clubs do it. Mate, if you can't beat Arsenal and then who's next? Brentford, and let alone who's the next one after that? Tottenham, another London rival. Get in the damn bin.
Yeah,
bro.
but Real Madrid have never had a squad in the situation that Chelsea's squad's in.
But then again,
Rory actually made a very good point because normally
but will fans be patient enough to see the end of the season?
And that's the problem.
8th place finish, and then all of a sudden you're back at Todd B's neck.
Because you know what? It's Rory you've actually made a very good point. I didn't think of it like that because a lot of these big name managers, they normally have already made players. They normally have veterans that are already there, been there, done it, big personalities. This is a very young Chelsea team, but. You know what? I think everyone's kind of right in this conversation because it's like
maybe there's no right or wrong to it.
Say that again.
Maybe there is no right or wrong answer to this.
I think there is no right or wrong because you're right, Kaz. Then again, we're speaking about Chelsea as if they're like Crystal Palace or Brentford. No disrespect, they are a massive club, so you have to treat them like a massive club. And you know what? I know they want stability in that, but sometimes maybe the hiring and firing model just works for them. I know it was under a different regime, but maybe if that's what's going to bring them success and bringing a manager, short-term sets and sack them again. That's maybe what Chelsea fans are used to, and maybe they might want again. But then the ones I speak to, they want stability. They've seen the City model, they've seen the Liverpool model, even the Arsenal model of recent. I know you've not won that massive trophy to kind of justify it just yet, but you kind of see the trajectory you're going in. A lot of them do want stability, but I can see them doing it. I don't think Poch personally lasts. If he doesn't get a run of wins in this
Frankie Lampard.
I don't think he'll last.
Chelsea at some point, I know they're very clever with pushing around accounting practices and with their ability to sell homegrown talent and all that stuff, and it makes it out to look great. Put all that stuff to one side. They might not be in risk of FFP, but the fact of the matter is that the owner and his consortium have spent 9 figures, right, on players coming in. And at some point, an investor wants to see some sort of juice from the squeeze, and it's not materializing in any way, shape, or form. The reason I mentioned Conte, by the way, someone in the comments mentioned it. I know that he left acrimoniously with Chelsea, but that was under the previous owner, right? So I don't know if the history, like that, there's necessarily going to be the same problems there. But I don't know what the right solution is either. But if Pochettino stays the season and Chelsea finish 9th. There's just no where is the
if you're going to ride him out till 9th, if you're going to ride him out till 9th, you're going to have to ride him for the next season as well and see where it goes from there. Let's see any improvements in the squad, right? That's really is. So we said if they win, they get their respect back. And if they don't win, then ultimately some say sack him, some say leave it to the end of the season. Don't matter. One more thing I was going to just touch on then as well. We've only seen Chelsea play against teams that do kind of sit back and don't mind soaking up the pressure from Chelsea. We've only seen them against Liverpool, who is a bigger club, a better footballing club than what they have faced, and Chelsea look better. So all of a sudden, teams that want to go at Chelsea and think they can go at Chelsea, this is something for the eye for the mutual viewer as well, right? Or the casual viewer. We don't know how they're going to set up against a team, like Arsenal, like Man United, like Man City or anything yet. And that's just the interesting part of it, because they might do well in bigger games than they do against smaller games. Hence, Man United potentially last year at home against bigger sides are great, but away it wasn't so great. For Chelsea, it might be against the smaller sides. It might not look as great technically, but against the top 7, 8, 9, it might look amazing, like they did against Brighton. That's another thing that we haven't actually touched on a little bit. So that's why I say, does anyone actually think maybe Chelsea might have they might have a part in this to say, you know what, we can do this if you're a fan.
That's why I think they're going to get a few unexpected wins in this run. I genuinely think they will, going off on what you're saying, because I think they have kind of that unpredictable approach. And I think against the bigger teams, against us, I wouldn't say it was the whole game. I'll say second half. First half, we kind of looked at that game to...
After 30 minutes, you got slaughtered, bro. But you're lucky that
I wouldn't say after 30, bro. I'd say we were the better team.
30 minutes, Roms. It was 30
no,
minutes.
I'm not having that. I think first half was. But going back to them, I feel like they're going to get... I think you're spot on, Kaz. I think they're going to come unstuck in the lesser games. But the bigger games, I think they'll do better than people think.
Who are they going to pick up points from in that? So you've already said that they should beat Brentford. Tottenham
should beat Brentford. Sean, you're not going to hear this.
I get it. They could beat Tottenham. 100%. They always can beat Tottenham. I get it. It's fine.
But I say that,
but after that, they got 6 of the toughest in the league to come.
I think they pick up points against Kaz's team. I'm sorry.
The only difference between now
United, one of them. United, one of them.
The only difference between now and then as well, which is respect to everything, is even the Man United game or Newcastle, they're weeks away. They're in November and Man United's in December. Things can change on the flip side of things. That team that look good now might not look so good in 3 weeks' time. That team like Man United potentially might not look right now. But when injuries come back for one team, even Chelsea, even with injuries coming back for them, they might flip side it and say, we look good now because we got the personnel back. So there's a lot of variance in it to say they're going to lose the next 10 games, right?
True.
Or whatever, not pick up points. But yeah, man, we're going to wrap it up there. Big up Rory, shout out whatever you need to shout out and whatnot.
Yeah, just Rory Talks Football YouTube. I'm uploading pretty much daily at the moment. So
hey, he's on the wave. He's on the wave.
Yeah.
Roms don't have a channel, so bun him. Sean, Spurs channel. Channel's like flying, mate.
Yeah. I'm not far off 20k now, so it's like a nice to have a new handle to work towards. Yeah, you can find me at Spurs Talk Show And I usually say I take my dogs out for a walk every day and then just talk about whatever's going on in the world of Tottenham. But I'm actually trying to get back into doing a little bit more like intelligent editing and stop being a lazy guy who just relies on the monologues. But if you fancy listening to Tottenham stuff, then Spurs Talk Show is where you can find me. Appreciate you having me.
Man.
Cats, even though I'm not a channel, I'm going to shamelessly plug something. Me and
Can't bothered. So boring, mate. Honestly, guy wants to have a personality. He has when he's in the comments, it's a different personality. Yeah, when he's in streams, different guy as well. Guy that's what you call two-face.
Oh, it's so funny.
No, listen, I'm actually doing you a favour here, so just be patient. But me and Don on Saturday morning will be Never Past Soccer Branch will be here, and I reckon it'll be chaos. So yeah. Can't wait for that.
Yeah, man. Oh man, who's going live? Is anyone I can redirect? Oh, no one's going live like that. Is anyone live right now that I can just redirect you that I like? But no one's live. Oh damn, that's a shame, man. You know what? James Redmond is live. James Redmond TV.
He's funny, that guy.
All right, cool. Go over to James. He's with Lee Gunner. I'm pretty sure they're talking something negative. So go over there and make sure you drum that fun for them as well, man. In a bit.